Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alex Dvorkin and I'm a managing partner at 40 Capital. We specialize in a very unique mathematical approach to the stock market where we analyze the market and individual stocks in multidimensional space, and when we do, essentially perfect order emerges. On top of that, we've developed a number of very powerful timing indicators and tools, and when we combine both of them, we can essentially predict not only what the stock market is going to do, but when it's going to happen, and we can apply the same to individual stocks as well. Commodities, currencies, doesn't really matter. And we can typically do it on multiple time frames, whether it's short term, long term, doesn't really matter. If the mathematical structure is there and it is clear, we can calculate it. I personally believe our work is nearly identical to what Jim Simmons was able to accomplish at Renaissance Technologies, if you're familiar with Jim. Now, our goal as a firm is to essentially identify stocks that will 2x, 5x, 10x, and do so within a relatively short period of time. So essentially we're looking for the next NVIDIA, Apple, Bitcoin, Tesla, and so on. And we can typically do it with the help of our very powerful software that we've developed on top of our three-dimensional calculations and our timing indicators. And what we can do is we can scan the entire S&P 500. We can calculate in multidimensional space exactly what most, not all of them, but most underlying stocks will do in both time and price. And from that group, we can choose only the best possibilities. For us, it is looking for stocks that are about to put in major bottoms. And from those bottoms, they are expected to increase quite dramatically going forward. And if you've been following our videos, you very well know, or you see how we do that. From a number of different perspectives, whether we're talking about super equities or the fast movers, we're able to pinpoint those bottoms, and from those bottoms we can project well into the future what those underlying equities is going to do. So today we're going to be looking at the US dollar. Let me pull up the chart, the index, the DXY, and this is one of our mega cap stocks, I guess you can say, that we analyze twice a year and update twice a year. And quite a few people have been asking about the dollar, what's going to happen. There's a lot of bearishness out there, as you know, and very complex macroeconomic environment. As you know, Fed just lowered interest rates by 25 basis points. So let's take a look and see what our prior forecast has indicated, and then take a look at today and what it says or what's going to happen to the dollar over the next couple of months, and as a matter of fact, a couple of years. So this particular top in January, our last update, I believe, was at the end of last year. We're running a little bit behind the schedule. But no, I'm sorry. It was, I believe, well, it was either in March or right before the end of the year. I do not recall. But at that particular time, we were discussing that this particular top was a mid-cycle top for the US dollar. It has completed its pattern for the time being, and it's beginning to decline into this major cycle top. Now, before I get into detail about our overall forecast, let me just very quickly mention what it is that you're looking at, particularly for those who are new to our work. So the triangles you see at the top and the bottom of the chart, it is what we call cycle composites. Okay, it is a very simplistic representation of a very complex mathematical concept of calculating this particular chart in three-dimensional space. So we have the ability to scan the chart back, calculate it, pick out cycles, and project them into the future. Okay, and the bottom composites are responsible for important bottoms in any given stock or the overall stock market, as you can see, and the top composites are responsible for the tops, as you can see very clearly here from the chart. Now, what makes matter even a little bit more complicated is that there are typically multiple composites running in any given stock or the overall market. I always use Dow Jones as an example. So Dow Jones has two bottom composites and two upper composites running at the same time. But if you put them together, you get a very clear representation, or essentially a copy of what you see on the two-dimensional time and price chart. Okay, and we can narrow it down here. So, for example, if we begin to put in cycles, and of course, for some reason, this video interfering with the software. I've tried it before, but it doesn't work. I don't know why. Anyway, so let me see if it opens up cycle clusters. So that's cycle composites. The cycle clusters are the line you see on the chart in front of you. There's quite a few of them for the US dollar. It is also a very simplistic representation of a very complex mathematical concept. And what we do, once again, we scan the chart back in multidimensional space. We pick out these cycles, proprietary cycles, and we project them into the future. And what we found over the years is that typically very important turning points happen not when any particular cycle arrives, but when there's a multitude of cycles arriving at the same time. So that's why we call them cycle clusters. So the bigger the cluster, the more probable the turning point is going to be at that juncture. So for example, if we have 2, 5, 10 cycles arriving at the same time, rest assured, particularly if they're long-term cycles, there's going to be an important turning point at that juncture. So the cycle composites get us into the neighborhood, let's say plus or minus 2 trading months, and then the cycle clusters give us the exact date of an upcoming turning point. And of course, we triangulate that with our time and price calculations in multidimensional space, and have everything confirm an exact turning point that it comes into the market. So anyway, the point being here is that let's shift back to the dollar forecast. It is very simple. I'm kind of mumbling on about our mathematical concepts, but in terms of the dollar, this has been the mid-cycle top. It is now decreasing into a major cycle bottom, and the major cycle bottom, according to our work, is anticipated at May of 2026, as you can see right here. Now, once again, these are long-term cycles, so they typically have plus or minus 2 trading months of variance associated with them. I'm not going to get into trying to pick out the exact bottom for the US dollar or DXY. At this juncture, it is still far ahead. We'll review it one more time, probably in the beginning of next year. We'll begin to triangulate into the exact bottom. But for the time being, all you need to know, it is declining into this particular timing low. And from that low, it is going to increase quite dramatically to a new all-time high, which is going to be above 120 per index for the index. And possibly will reach the all-time high that we saw here in, I believe, 1996 or 1984. I'm sorry, not 96, 84, I believe, or 85 or 86. Looks like, let's click on it, and yeah, 85. Okay, so a slow decline into this bottom by May of 2026, and then a dramatic increase into this particular top, which is scheduled for much later, let's say 29, 30, and so on. Okay, so the question becomes, where's the bottom? How far lower will the dollar decline? And there are two answers to this particular question. So this is yet another three-dimensional representation of our calculations. For you, it doesn't make any sense, but for us, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to mention where the dollar is going to bottom. There are two possible targets. One of them is located at approximately 85, which is within this particular square. So let's say $85 plus or minus $1 will mark the bottom in May of 2026. And the secondary target, if it breaks below 84, it is going to schedule to go to $77 approximately, and that's going to be the bottom, and that's going to be within this particular target area. I'm sorry, it's going to be within this particular target area. And that's pretty much it. So dollar is declining into May of 2026. You know, most likely bottom is going to be around 85. If it breaks below 83, it's going to go down to 77, and it is the bottom is going to be at that juncture. So as we get closer to that bottom projection time frame, we'll have a clear picture. So if we kind of hanging around that $85 area, we know that's where the bottom is going to be. We can take a long position. And if we broken below 84, 83, we know that it's going to be the secondary target. It is as simple as that. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for the US dollar. Hopefully you found this analysis helpful. A couple of things to mention here. If you want exact targeting for most of the analysis that we do, including our fast movers, including our super equities, as well as the mega cap stocks, the overall stock market, we have a 30-day free trial associated with our service. No strings attached, no credit cards, nothing. All you have to do is go to our homepage and click on contact and request it, and we'll set you up with that. And the amount of information that we have available currently is mind-boggling. We have so many opportunities, so many stocks that are hitting into their bottoms and expected to reverse and surge much higher. So you have access to all of that information. I do encourage you to request that free trial. We also have a webinar coming up this Friday. During the webinar, we're going to talk about our overall mathematical approach to analyzing the stock market. We're going to showcase our software. We're also going to talk about the overall composition of the overall stock market, where we are today, where we're heading in the future, over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months, as a matter of fact, over the next couple of years. So I think you're going to find it quite interesting and quite helpful for the trading, whatever trading that you may or may not do. So that's it. By the way, the links to both of those things are in the description of this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll be back with another stock analysis as soon as tomorrow. I believe we're going to be looking at LYB, which is our next fast movers. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.